Yo, what's up everybody? King GBL here, and welcome back to some Pokemon TCG Pocket. Today, I'm going to be showcasing a Lilligant and Venusaur setup. I used this deck yesterday for quite some time, and I really enjoyed this setup. In this deck, we're using Venusaur in the sweeping position, and we're basically using Lilligant to set up Venusaur. Lilligant has access to Leaf Supply, which basically gives one of your back Pokemon a Grass Energy. One of the biggest issues with Venusaur, in my opinion, is it's really slow to set up. It takes 4 energy to get up to Giant Bloom, and that can make matches a little bit slow, a little bit clunky. There are a lot of decks out there that are super fast at the minute. You have the Pikachu EX deck, which is probably the best deck in the game. You can typically get that deck set up super quickly and get a lot of damage in very quickly. Similar with Mewtwo, it takes a little bit longer to get set up, but of course it has a method of getting extra energy onto the Mewtwo quicker. Basically, this deck is designed to give you enough time to set up Venusaur and basically try to sweep the match with it. You could run a variety of supporter cards with this. However, I think 2 Ericas is basically a staple. I think 2 Potions is very handy as well, because like I said, you're going to have to stall out quite a lot. You're going to have to get your full Venusaur set up in the back, so you need to be able to heal up your Lilligant in the lead if you need to. You need to be able to heal up your Venusaur while you're gathering energy for it. It might seem a little bit excessive, but whenever you're playing against decks that are super fast like Pikachu, which are just damaging you constantly thick and fast, I think having all of these healing items really helps this deck along and allows you to get the full setup at the end. You will see for the first couple of battles, I think I was using a red card. I didn't fully check my deck before setting it up. I ended up swapping it out to the deck on screen here. 2 Ericas, 1 Sabrina, 2 Pokeballs, 2 Professor Research, 1 X-Speed. I think it's good to have an option to use X-Speed towards the late parts of the game. Sometimes you get in situations where it's a massive battle of attrition and your Venusaur starts getting low. Or if you do get those cases, of course, in the lead, where you end up getting Bulbasaur out first, ideally you want to get Petilil out in the lead, get your Lilligant set up, and just start farming energy for the Venusaur. Of course, you guys already know, you don't always get the setup that you want, and 1 X-Speed I think is sufficient for this deck. Lilligant is a 1 energy retreat, and Venusaur is free, so you will find some niche situations towards the end of games where you might want to X-Speed to get your Venusaur out, get your Lilligant in, to potentially tank a move and then come back in to sweep with Venusaur. A few other options for this deck is, of course, you can run the very classic Executor Execute line, super popular line with Venusaur, makes a lot of sense. However, it requires you to have 4 EX cards. I myself don't have 2 Executors, so I think if you're looking to run Venusaur, this is a very decent budget option. Another consideration is you can run Giovanni with this deck. I don't like putting too many supporter cards in. I think Erica is non-negotiable. You could potentially get rid of your Sabrina, and even the X-Speed potentially, and put in 1 or 2 Giovannis. The reason you might want to do that is, Lilligant in the lead does 50 damage. There are a lot of Pokemon which have 60 HP, so I think sometimes having the potential to one-shot the opponent's basic Pokemon could be very, very useful. Anyway guys, we're going to hop into the battles. Drop a like in the video if you enjoy, subscribe to the channel if you do enjoy this video. The type of content I'll make on this channel will be slightly different to the Pokemon Pocket content that you see out there currently. A lot of the Pokemon Pocket content currently is kind of like an introduction to the deck, and then basically some stream highlights. What I like to do personally is shoutcast my battles. I make Pokemon Go content on this channel, and one of the things that a lot of people do tend to like about my videos is the fact that I go into detail and explain all of the different moves and stuff like that. With this game, I'm still learning. I've only started roughly 1 week ago, so I'm still learning this game, still picking everything up, and actually shoutcasting these battles kind of allows me to retrospectively look at things and see if there is something I could have done better. Pokemon Pocket, a lot of it does come down to what hand you get, your card order, all that kind of stuff. But there definitely are some battles where your decision making can make a massive difference. There is strategy and skill to this game as the opponent flips a Misty and misses it. I swear Misty for me personally is the biggest scam of all time. Most of the time opponents get me pretty hard with that, but we win the first battle. That last battle worked out pretty well. We got the Petilil in the lead, we got it evolved pretty early, we started getting our Venusaur line set up in the back, and hopping into game 2. This is pretty much another somewhat ideal setup. The opponent has Meowth in the lead, Machop in the back, which is quite an interesting setup as well. We get 2 Bulbasaurs here, which is fantastic. We have Lilligant in hand, we have Ivysaur, and we have Erica in hand. The opponent goes for a Pokeball here. By the looks of things, the opponent's strategy is to set up Meowth in the lead, use Payday to pick up a bunch of cards. Whenever you're using 2-stage evolution cards, you do need to kind of pick up as many cards as you possibly can. I do think Meowth is a fantastic option for a lot of decks that require you to get a lot of evolutions and a lot of different cards in hand. The opponent's going to go for that kind of strategy. I decide here, I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to throw in Sabrina, force them to come into one of their back Pokemon, not allow the opponent to get set up as quickly as they possibly can, and we're going to basically put some energy. We almost didn't put the energy in Lilligant. By the way guys, I recommend keeping that little reminder on, even if it is a little bit annoying at times. It has saved me in that case, for example. Not putting energy in Pokemon, and of course not using cards. We pick up another Petilil. Petilil. Guys, I realized this yesterday, if you zoom into the name, it's actually Petilil. I thought it was Petlil, so I was calling it like Petlil. It's a lot more difficult for me to say that, but they come into the Marowak EX. I'm thinking the setup here is basically pay as much as possible in the lead, get your Marowak out, try to do as much damage as you can, and then try to set up a Machamp in the back. Marowak and Machamp, it is a combo I've used before, definitely a very slow setup, so it really does make sense that the opponent is using it with Meowth just to draw a bunch of cards. The opponent's deck is very weak to red card. Red card can basically put a big spanner in this setup. The opponent's going to go for some skillful coin flips. They miss the first one, they get the second one, and they do 80 damage here, which is enough to take out Lilligant, unfortunately. So we're down by 1 point in this match, or sorry, we're 1 to 1 points. We have the Ivysaur out. We did not draw the Venusaur. We really needed to draw a Venusaur at this point. We do some heavy damage into it. We still have Lilligant in the back. This is kind of tricky. I just need to avoid a double heads. If the opponent double heads, they pretty much win this battle. I just need to survive this. I need to be able to get out. They get 1 heads, they get 2. This game is so annoying sometimes. This game is so annoying. They get the double heads. I've been having pretty bad luck recently with coin flips. I'm never in a very, very setback position. I'm just like, whatever bro, just double heads me, just get it over and done with. He brings out the Machamp, and I just concede the match at this point. Yeah, he brings in the Machamp. I think I meant to edit this match out, but we'll just leave it in there, because I'm sure it has some entertainment value. I really thought I was going to win that match. I know everybody here watching can relate to that. Losing a bunch of coin flips, whether it be for your own Misty, or the opponent's Misties against you, Marowaks. Everybody here knows exactly how that feels. Hopping into the next match, we have quite an interesting one with Pikachu. Pikachu EX is what I'd consider to be a very negative deck for this one, just because it outpaces so much. So I think this is a real test for this deck. Can we withstand a Pikachu deck? They've got amazing pacing, they've got the Pikachu out, they're Professor Researching, they're going to get a million Pokemon in the back line, they're going to be doing 90 damage next turn. Can we withstand something like this potentially? Now thankfully we did get some very good cards that we needed. This is kind of tough. I have to Sabrina here. Just hoping that the opponent does not bring back in the Pikachu or they don't have X speed. I put the energy in Bulbasaur. I'm thinking about it, but then I decide to put it on Lilligant, which I think is a better option. I basically want to get my Bulbasaur out of here. I'm not trying to give the opponent any free points. I'm trying to get set up. The opponent puts the extra energy in Pikachu and then they don't swap out. So this is okay. We're getting the Venusaur in at this point. We can trade out the Bulbasaur. So what was a very tricky position is starting to come around a little bit. That is kind of why Sabrina, it's basically very good in any deck, right? The opponent could have had a massive foothold in this match with Pikachu, but I was able to Sabrina them out, force them to spend energy. The opponent must have picked up an X-Speed that hand, I'm sure they would have used it last hand. They Sabrina me this time, and I'm actually really happy with that. The opponent's doing me a huge favour here. I decided to bring in my Bulbasaur. The reason being is because I think it's more likely for me to set up a second Lilligant than it is to set up a second Bulbasaur. Venusaur is a very tricky Pokemon to get set up. We do pick up an Ivysaur, which now is completely irrelevant to my deck. Of course, I put the energy on the Venusaur, and we'll see what the opponent wants to do here. They have 2 energies set up on Pikachu, 2 set up on Zapdos, and they seem to be in a very dominant position here in terms of their setup. Now, we get a very clutch card coming in here. We get Erica. I decide not to use it here. I decide just to Leaf Supply, get the extra energy on my Venusaur, and just hold on to the Erica, right? Get the Pikachu down to 20. Unless they want to get taken out next round, they have to swap it out. They come into their Zapdos, and they do take out the Lilligant, unfortunately. So the opponent's up 2 points. We're in a very bad position now. But we've got a fully set up Venusaur, we have an Erica, we have a Potion, and we have Giant Bloom fully set up. So we can basically start healing ourselves over and over again at this point. So look, it's basically Venusaur against the world. The opponent's got to set up Zapdos, they've got a Pikachu in the back, which is basically set up now at this point, ready to come in and snipe a move at any point. The opponent's going to flip 4 coins, they get the first one, they get the second one, get the third one. Thankfully, they don't get the fourth. They need to hit all 4. We're down to 40 HP, I immediately Potion, I Potion right again, so we're back up to 80 health, we'll do 50 with the Erica, and look, we can put the extra energy somewhere. I decided to put it on Venusaur, just in case I need to swap out. There may be a case in this match where I need to swap into Lilligant to sponge a move. We've got 5 energy on here, and suddenly we're back up to 160 HP. So once again, we were in a very horrible position with very low HP, suddenly we're back up to 160. We've got more HP than most Pokemon in the game. They come back in with Zapdos. The opponent knows that if they come into Pikachu, they can't take me out in one shot, and of course Venusaur is going to be able to withstand it. So this is basically a battle of attrition right here. The opponent's got 130 HP in the lead, they've got 20 in the Pikachu in the back, they've got 80, 120. Some mental math here is at 350 HP to work with. There's only 1 point remaining in this match. Whoever gets the next point wins. This is a huge battle of attrition. The opponent's taking a very long time to think about it. This is a very technical match. I think the opponent recognizes that they can basically tank a move in Zapdos and try to push it back a turn. Next turn, I pick up a Pokeball. Basically does absolutely nothing for me. We put another energy in Venusaur, because once again, there may be a case where I pick up a Lilligant, and where the opponent will be able to come in with a Pokemon where I cannot withstand a move, and I need to swap out, take the move in Lilligant. That's kind of like a win con of mine, because if you think about Pikachu, right, its maximum attack is 90. I've got 100 HP in Lilligant. Unless they have a Giovanni, I can tank any move from a Pikachu. So we actually do get the Lilligant. This could be really huge for me here. Venusaur is a very expensive retreat. I think at this point I might not have XP'd in my deck, and I think it was after this battle I decided to put it in. We hit the Pikachu for 100, basically getting it down to one-shot range. Once again, the opponent cannot afford to stay in here. The opponent's already used both of their X speeds, so if they put an energy in Pikachu here, they're basically going to be setting up one of their back Pokemon to get one-shot. At this point, we were in such bad positions in this match. The opponent's thinking this through, but this is actually game over at this point. We came back from such horrible positions here, and now we have the opponent in a position where they had so much more HP than us, but we were able to outbulk them and take that match. That's the beauty of this deck. The Lilligant sets up the Venusaur, Venusaur comes in, you have all of the healing cards, you've got the Giant Bloom, you can just basically bulk your way through everything. Hopping into the next battle, we get a pretty ideal setup. This is perfect. Petalil in the front, Bulbasaur in the back, and the opponent's in with a Ralts in the front. So obviously it's probably, well, they've got the Mewtwo cards and everything, so most likely a Mewtwo deck. We'll see what the opponent wants to do here. We end turn. I'm expecting the opponents to Professor, Pokeball, X-Speed, get the Mewtwo in the front, get the Ralts in the back, basically start setting up the energy for Mewtwo and all that kind of fun stuff. Mewtwo decks, I don't know about you guys, let me know in the comments down below. I'm honestly not a huge fan of Mewtwo decks. When I was first getting into this game, I basically played this game like an idiot, right? I just opened whatever packs I wanted to. Oh, I like Mewtwo, I'm going to open the Mewtwo. Oh, Charizard's my favorite Pokemon, I'm going to open up Charizard. Eventually I realized like, yo, I don't really have that many good cards, what's going on here? So I decided to watch some YouTube videos, like what are the best decks to build, who are the best Pokemon to get. I looked at a few videos. Big shout out to all of the content creators in this game. I know you guys have certainly helped me out a lot. The likes of Dex, Spraggles, and everybody else who's making content, it's super helpful. But I ended up deciding to build a Mewtwo deck. I fully have a Mewtwo deck set up, and I got that fully set up free to play with 2 Sabrinas, 1 Giovanni actually, not 2. But it was more or less a full Mewtwo deck with both Gardevoirs and all that kind of fun stuff. What I started to find with that deck is that the Water Starmie decks and the Pikachu decks were just absolutely destroying it, just outpacing it like crazy. Let me know in the comments down below, do you feel that Mewtwo decks have basically fallen off quite a lot and aren't really quite as good as before? I kinda do tend to think that is the case. But anyway guys, they get their Gardevoir set up, this is the perfect setup for them. When you're facing Mewtwo decks, this is worst case scenario. Mewtwo in the lead, they've got energy. The Giovanni here, which is super frustrating, taking out my Petalil. That is so bad for me. I'm in a rough spot now. We do have Venusaur in here, we only have 1 energy on it. And like this is looking really bad. The Mewtwo's got 2 energy, they can get another 2 energy next round. We're in pretty bad shape here. The only saving grace is, if you look at my hand, we have 2 Ericas, 1 potion, we have 2 energy on the Venusaur, and of course we'll be able to get Giant Bloom in the next 2 turns. So if I can stall out long enough, this might be okay. Now I do get an Ivysaur, which kind of gives me a decision to make. Do I put it all on this Venusaur in the front, or do I try to put it onto something else? The opponent's up by 1 point, they're going to get the Mewtwo fully set up next round, they're going to wipe out my Venusaur no matter what here. Unfortunately, I think we're just in an unwinnable position here. The opponent's got their Mewtwo set up. I can waste free energy here, but this is so bad. Wasting free. I'm basically forced to concede the match at this point. The opponent having a Giovanni at that perfect moment, being able to take out my Petalil in the lead, that put me in a very difficult position where I was no longer able to stall, get the Venusaur set up, and that's basically what won the battle for them. So you know, as with any deck in this game, you do need to get some element of luck. I think the 2 battles that I've lost that I've showcased in this video came down to coin flips, or just pretty unlucky cards, right? Them happening to have that perfect Giovanni at that right time, it kinda sucked, and yeah, it's gonna happen no matter what deck you play. We have all of our basic Pokemon out on the field, and we have an Ivysaur in hand. This is fantastic. The only thing that I really need to get is a Petalil, and I sorta need to hope that Tentacruel doesn't come in too quickly and completely run for my team. We get a Professor, it's open prayer time. Sorry, my video footage bugged out a little bit there, but we throw in the Ivysaur here. We've got an X speed, which is kind of nice, and we're just going to end turn at that point. So what we need to get is just our second stage evolution. They come in with Tentacruel. I've pretty much just have to sacrifice the Petalil in the lead. I need to get either Lilligant or Venusaur next round. It has to happen. At this point, we need to go runner on the opponent. We need to just get a consecutive set of cards that are going to help us win this battle. Tough choice here, I decided to put this in. We get a Professor and we're able to draw out... Okay, thankfully we get Lilligant here. We'll put this out here, we can start putting energy on it, and we can hopefully start fueling up our Ivysaur in the back. Now, once again, we have the X-Speed in hand, we have a potion, and we have 2 Ericas, right? The opponent's going to poison me into oblivion. I'm playing a long setup deck. The opponent's playing just a smash and grab deck. They're playing with 2 Pokemon with status effects. They can put me to sleep, or they can poison me. So I have to try to dance around that. Whenever you're using a longer setup deck, and your opponents are using smash and grab decks, as I would like to call them, things like Pikachu, things like Marowak, and Pokemon that can hit you very quickly with poison, such as Pokedex, you basically need to stall them out as much as you possibly can, So you do have to think. This team will require you to do some mathematics. I know it doesn't sound like the funnest thing in the world, but to me it is, to be honest with you. I do enjoy this aspect of the game. I decide to heal 70, so I need to be able to withstand their 50 attack, the 10 poison at the end of this round, and the 10 poison at the end of the next round. That's what I need to withstand. I need to be able to withstand 70. We healed up to 90, so for those of you out there who are mathematicians, that leaves us on 20 at the end of this all. In this game, it is important to try to work these things out, to use your cards as efficiently as possible. I'm not always perfect at doing that, but it is something that I do keep in mind. Now, we have a choice. I can put this energy... Where do I put this energy? I have a choice whether I want to save Lilligant for an attack late game, if I want to sub it out now, if I want to put the energy in Venusaur. It's kind of a tricky choice. I do make an interesting choice here. I decide not to X-Speed, just assuming that I can bring this back in at any point later on and put 1 extra energy on it. It costs free energy to retreat Venusaur, so I'd rather keep that just in case I need to retreat this at some point to basically sponge a move. Because as you can see here, I'm on 1, the opponent's on 1, right? So there is a potential that they can do like a 2-point hit on the Venusaur. If I need to, I can X-Speed out of here and put that hit onto the Lilligant instead. The opponent gets their Blastoise set up, and it's actually not a Blastoise EX, so I will only get 1 point for taking this out, which definitely is slightly annoying. I think for this sort of setup, if you're going to set up Blastoise at all, I do feel as though that it's so hard to get set up that you probably do want the EX. I do respect the opponent for trying to run this with normal Blastoise though. The opponent's going to hit me with Hydro Pump. That's perfectly fine. I can basically heal myself up to 150 here. I'm tempted to use my X speed here at this point. This is where I'm thinking, should I come in and sponge the move now? So this is exactly why I done this the way I done it earlier. We're going to do this, do the Leaf Supply once more, get the energy back on the Venusaur. We swapped out our Lilligant earlier, cleared the poison, saved the Lilligant right, instead of just letting it go down, I decided to save it. Now we've got the energy back on the Venusaur. The opponent does a Sabrina, that's kind of insane. That's a very tough play for me to handle. They do Hydro Pump, they get me down to 50 HP and I get a Sabrina of my own. So I put the extra energy in Venusaur, I'm just like, right, whatever, bang, just get off my screen. Get off my screen. At this stage, it's like, whatever, I need to survive a coin flip. The opponent concedes the match. I don't know if that match was completely over. The opponent had a Frostmoth in the back. They could have potentially brought that in. I got very, very lucky with the sleeps and then won that battle, but they decided not to go for it. Good games to that opponent there. Let's hop on into the next battle here. So, let's see, we're going first this next battle. We've got the Petlil in the lead, Bulbasaur in the back. Beautiful. This is exactly what we want to see, but we don't want to see Sizzlipede in the lead. We don't want to see Sizzlipede. Thankfully, it's not a faster paced fire Pokemon. If we had seen a Rapidash in the lead, this could have been just game over from the very first second I seen it. The opponent puts the energy on the Sizzlipede, and they're going to put up another Sizzlipede in the back. So we're up against a Centiskorch deck. Can this deck overcome Centiskorch? Centiskorch can basically one-shot my whole team if they get it fully set up. I get my Lilligant set up in the lead. We need to get 1 more energy for it. In our hand, we have 2 potions. We have an Erica, Professor, Venusaur. This is pretty decent here. I think I go for the Pokeball here. I probably should have went for the Professor there. At the end of this round, not too sure why I didn't, to be completely honest with you. I do think I'm probably a little bit distracted just talking to chat and messing around here. The Centiskorch has got me frazzled here, but anyway, we're going to end this round. We are going to Leaf Supply, and the opponent goes ahead and heals up the Centiskorch. Yeah, this is not looking great. Oh, we do get a Sabrina though. Okay, I've got a big choice to make. Do I gamble with a Professor, or do I go for the Sabrina? This is a very tricky choice. I think the safest play is Sabrina, but I think I end up going Professor in this situation, because I'm like, I can either make a huge gamble and try to hit something in the back, or do we play it safe? We actually get the Ivysaur. Okay, that's huge. That is actually huge. So that kind of worked out. It was a big gamble. That turned out to be very, very lucky right there. I probably could have used my Professor the round before and I wouldn't have had to make that decision, but it is what it is. They Fire Blast me here, bang. We're going to say goodbye here. And at this point, look, we've got free energy on this. We've got the Venusaur in hand. We've got our second Ivysaur in hand as well. We've got the 4 energy. We can look to go for Giant Bloom, take out the Centiskorch. And like, that's just a massive, yeah, they concede the match. That's a massive setback for the opponent at that point. Hopping into the next battle, we go heads, we go first, and we get ourselves a Bulbasaur lead. Less than ideal, we have 2 Lilligants in hand with a Venusaur, a Sabrina, and an Erica. This is a really bad hand, I would say. We don't have our middle stage evolution, we don't have Petalil, which by the way, Petalil, we don't have Petalil, which is very bad for me. We get the Ivysaur. So, I mean, at least we can evolve us into Ivysaur and start getting this. Are we going to just set this up in the lead? The opponent's on a Dragonite deck. The opponent's setup is going to be very slow as well, so I could actually probably just set this up in the lead. So what looked like a very bad hand actually is kind of turning out okay. Just because it's a Dragonite deck and they don't have their supporter basic Pokemon, whichever it is, whether it be Meowth, whether it be some normal type Pokemon, whether it be Articuno, whatever the case may be. The opponent doesn't seem to have those yet, so I can go full steam ahead with Venusaur in the lead. They get the Dragonite in the back. This is okay. They get the Articuno out as well, and it's a non-EX Articuno. That's a very cool card. Flip a coin. We love coin flips. Flip a coin for a chance to paralyze your opponent. So we get the Venusaur set up. We finally get our Petalil. I think at this stage we just start attacking. I mean, we just sort of have to pray for the best. The one sort of concern I have at the minute is that I don't have a lot of HP to work with. I've got 250 HP here. Of course, I've got the Erica and the potion, which is an additional 70. The opponent could potentially just wreck me in one hit with this Dragonite. So I really want to get my Lilligant out and ideally get another Bulbasaur set up in the back, just so we can mitigate the Dragonite damage a little bit better. The opponent's thinking long and hard. They end up bringing in the Articuno. I don't know about that. I guess this kind of makes sense. They can just kind of sacrifice it. I'm assuming they have an X speed right here, so that probably would make sense. And the opponent does have a Meowth as well. So ideally, they want to get the Meowth. Wait, what? That was an interesting play by the opponent. I think they probably just bring out Dragonite, just tank the hit, and then just go for the big move while I don't have a lot of Pokemon set up. We get our Lilligant set up, we take out the Articuno, and we're looking to be in a pretty fine position now, I think. We just need to survive. Like, if they 4-hit me, they 4-hit me, right? It is what it is. There's nothing I can do about this. I'm hovering over the concede button in anticipation for getting quadruple hit. They end up only getting 50 damage on the Venusaur, which I can heal back up immediately. We heal up 30 with the attack, so I can do 20 here. Heal up 30 with the attack. I will put energy on the Petalil. Unfortunately, I can't evolve this turn, so I sort of have to... Yeah, I'm just making sure I've got the calculations correct. I just need to make sure I don't get quadruple hit. If I get quad hit, it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. It's just bad luck, right? They go for it, they get 100 in Venusaur, and we're down to 90 HP at this point. We get a Pokeball, we can get something else out, which is good. I think this match is basically over. Basically, all of this is pretty much unnecessary, but I'm just setting up as much as I possibly can here. We're throwing in the Bulbasaur, we're just throwing every card out that we can possibly use. We're throwing that in the back Pokemon because why not? The opponent's not going to be able to set up anything else, so this is kind of BM, which is bad manners if you guys don't know what that means. In Pokemon Go, we tend to do things, well, we don't. It's something that I do because I'm a bad-mannered person sometimes. But it's basically like, all you have to do is just attack and you win, but you do like a bunch of other stuff that's completely unnecessary. Anyway guys, they bring in the Dratini. That's GG's well played. Venusaur just kind of wrecks Dragonite decks, to be honest with you. Dragonite decks are just very, very hit and miss. I think it's probably my favourite kind of deck to try to build, but it's just so inconsistent. I hope that they bring out like a Lance card or some sort of a supporter card for dragons, because I feel like they're in a very awkward position in the meta currently. But guys, I hope you all enjoyed the gameplay. Venusaur is the GOAT. I really enjoyed using it. Lilligant and Venusaur, very, very good budget setup if you don't have EX Executor. And to be honest with you, I do believe that this deck works better than that deck in a lot of different cases. Because if your Executor goes down before you're able to set up your Venusaur, or if you miss some coin flips, which we all love of course, you're just in such a rough spot. So this could be a little bit more consistent and a little bit more strategic than flipping coins, a little bit more budget friendly and a little bit more free to play. Or if you just so happen to have two Venusaurs and the sort of pack points to buy a Bulbasaur if you need one, or Ivysaur. I actually use pack points to buy an Ivysaur for this deck. I'm pretty sure within a week I got all of these Pokemon free to play, so hopefully this team should be somewhat accessible to y'all. But big thank you everybody for watching, hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like, subscribe. Guys, literally do subscribe, drop a like. I'm trying to expand my content a little bit into this game, so if you guys want to see me keep doing that, do support the videos, it really helps. Big thank you. Today I should also be showcasing Shadow and Eye in Pokemon Go, and of course if there is some support for these videos, I will keep making them. Big thank you everybody, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all next time.